Bit of breaking news, new cabinet level picks being chosen by Joe Biden, the president-elect. Simply saying that is a radical statement in America, apparently. But some of them include John Kerry being the climate envoy. Don't love that. DNI Avril Haines. So girl power coming to the director of national intelligence. That's gonna be awesome. And then also, most importantly, the biggest one is Secretary of State Antony Blinken, who, look, I'm not gonna say that I was super familiar with his work before this announcement, but I'm learning stuff as a result of it, and so far not loving it. We'll get into some of the details, but what was your reaction, Francesca?
Well, so Antony Blinken, looking and learning a little bit more about him, it seems like he was deputy to the Secretary of State, I guess, under Obama. Which is always good because you're like, you kind of want someone who like saw the way that their boss effed up and is like, I'm gonna do it different. He is an internationalist, or if you're Alex Jones, a globalist, meaning he is aware there is a world outside of the United States, and we might have to work with that world if we want, peace and stuff. And that's always good. He lived abroad, apparently in Paris for a long time. So did James Baldwin, so that's a point in his favor. Love that. He plays the guitar and he plays soccer. So clearly, an elitist coastal globalist, i.e., pretty much like anyone who's cool and like is relatable, plays the guitar and like and soccer. So whether or not he's actually going to make change, whether he's not, I do think it. Come on, it's a step in the right direction. So happy about that.
Sure.
And happy to give him a chance going forward and pressure him when it comes to what we all know is really important, which is making sure that the United States has an actual standing in this world. And I don't mean George W. Bush intervention, wars of aggression standing, right? I don't mean 94 Bill Clinton NAFTA standing. I mean, being leaders of demilitarization, being leaders in climate, in the climate crisis, being leaders in diplomacy. Can I get a woot for diplomacy? No, okay, that's fine.
Yeah, that's funny. No, I love your method of vetting him based on his hobbies. It's a method that has only previously been used for Pete Buttigieg circa the Democratic primary, if you recall that. But yeah, so let's talk about him, because obviously going back to that era of foreign policy under Obama, which we've all sort of been assuming is what we're gonna go back to, and it looks like we're not only gonna be going back to it, but with literally the same cast of characters, has some good and some bad. But I want to read a few of these graphics because one of them has a little turn of phrase that I think just does so much work. That's great. So really fast. So choosing not only Antony Blinken, but also people like Linda Thomas Greenfield as ambassador to the UN sends a signal to our allies that blah, 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 we're gonna be involved in world affairs again, which some of that isn't necessarily bad. Blinken was Biden's national security advisor when Biden was vice president, and then served as deputy secretary of state in the last 2 years of the Obama administration, was involved with things like the creation of the nuclear accord. So that's where, in theory, engaging in the world via diplomacy can result in a cessation of hostilities and tension rather than an escalation of it. So that's the good side. The bad side, though, is things like this, and I just love this. In that role, Mr. Blinken helped develop the American response to political upheaval and instability across the Middle East, with mixed results in Egypt, Iraq, Syria, and Libya. Those mixed results. The letters are straining under the weight of all of what they have to contain. Mixed results in Egypt, Iraq, Syria, and Libya. I guess what's mixed implies that there was some good too, and I'm not sure that I'm really seeing much. It's been chaos, it's been widespread death and destabilization. I don't get the mix though.
I mean, I think, interestingly and in a really good way, moving forward, and especially with someone like Biden, gives us a chance to look back on what was good and what was bad about Obama's foreign policy. And sorry to say, progressives and lefties, it wasn't all bad. It wasn't, right? I mean, the way that Kerry worked to ease tensions with Cuba I mean, that barely happened, right? That narrowly happened. The Republicans hated it, and it only was announced when it was actually done. So a little bit of easing of the embargo, easing travel restrictions, that was huge. Obviously, the Iran deal, huge, right? Also, the right hated it, but they were arguable successes. Egypt, we gave so much money to El-Sisi and the military dictatorship, the military regime there. Syria didn't invade, which is great, really important. Gave a lot of arms to maybe unfavorable and not so wholesome entities we gave arms to. But Syria was, I mean, that is a whole episode we could do. It's a whole can of worms. A lot of people, even Syrians themselves, feel like the US didn't do enough. To me, as someone who doesn't believe in intervention, is like, no, we shouldn't have done anything, right? Iraq and Libya we know was a disaster, but these are all great conversations, and I'm so excited to be having them under some kind of less awful American presidency.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Look, you're 100% right. It is frustrating because, of course, he has been a part of going along into a number of disastrous and some still ongoing international crises, like the war on Yemen, obviously the continued death in Syria and all that. And you're right. In theory, those situations could have been even worse. Hopefully this individual has learned something in the intervening years where he co-founded a political strategy advising firm. But anyway, there will be some good. There will probably be quite a bit of bad. We begin this coverage just to let people know sort of what the form of the fight we're about to engage in is going to look like, where there are some opportunities and where there are some causes for alarm as well. We're gonna obviously talk more about Blinken as it goes forward. But yeah, what it is looking like is Biden is going to largely choose the sort of cabinet we would have predicted, with a good amount of representation of the non-ideological sorts. Like there's not necessarily a lot of breadth of disagreement on ideology. They tend to fit in that sort of Obama-style democratic politics, which has upsides, and all of it is upside in comparison to the insanity that we're now trying to transition out of. But it's still gonna have a lot of the same sorts of issues that we were talking about every day back under the previous president.
Yes, and also, by the way, just going forward, when it comes to foreign policy, right wingers are going to continue to argue that Trump was and is an isolationist, and that is utter BS. First year, mother of all bombs in Afghanistan. Increased drone strikes, exponentially increased drone strikes. We think Obama is the drone king? Nuh-uh, not compared to Trump. From that to the bombing in Syria, like he's not an isolationist, he never was and he never will be, and all of that is BS. So let's just remember that he's a hawk and don't buy into that. Just because he said he didn't like the war in Iraq, please. He said he would have taken all the oil. So yes, as we move forward, I'm excited to have these discussions, but let's not forget that the right wing is gonna be gaslighting us about how they were so peaceful and they sicked their own military on their own people. They brought the war home.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. Yeah, he couldn't even stop himself from intervening in DC.
Exactly.
In other countries.
Exactly.
That's a great point, and let's try to remember that. Yeah, it's gonna be a very interesting transition period to what do people remember and what do people forget of these years. We're gonna have to watch and see what lessons are learned, which are attempted to be like invented based on a selective forgetting of this time. Great point. For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.